Alright, so this is definitely a video you normally wouldn't expect on my channel, unless it's something you want me to continue doing, but I am here to talk to you about my thoughts and speculations on the bombshell that Ubisoft has dropped on us. Also, another heads up, prepare to cringe if I mispronounce anything, sorry in advance if I do, nerds. For the uninitiated, Ubisoft North America released essentially what is a trailer for For Honor at E3 titled Past, Present, and Future, talking about how far the game has come and hinting at where it will continue to go. And it ended like this.
Holy shit.
Now let me just say, this has sparked some debate and temporarily broke my Discord and probably the For Honor Reddit as well. Who is that? What is that? Why is that? Now I'm here to let you guys know what my speculations are, and you obviously know that because you clicked on the damn video. Now I've got a few theories on who our mysterious person is, but let's start by analyzing their weapon. At first glance, I thought this was a scimitar and shouted,
"We will take Jerusalem!"
Not only because it's a
Curved sword.
but the background leading into this shot was very sandy and dusty, and the foliage is unlike any we've seen in a For Honor setting as of yet, leading me to believe that this takes place somewhere in the Middle East, and that thus the warrior holding the weapon is of Middle Eastern descent. Furthermore, another video face revealing Warden also had a very sandy background, further enforcing this theory. That video was since taken down and re-uploaded by this guy right here. This leads me to the first theory that a new faction is going to be introduced, one hailing from the Arabian desert or the Middle East. This would open up new heroes with new playstyles, new maps, and a fourth contender in the faction war, a huge revamp if that is true. However, upon looking closer at the weapon and a message from Fodge on my Discord, he noted that the sword resembled more of a falchion as the curve wasn't great enough for a scimitar. And I noticed that the guard on the sword replicated that of a traditional falchion, at least how I usually see them represented in modern media, be it video games or movies. Now, these weapons are typically of European descent, but were actually based off of the Chinese Dadao. Thanks, Wikipedia. This opens up new possibilities here. What if it's actually a Chinese sword, like I've seen other people suggesting? But this doesn't really fit the setting they're in, unless they were mercenaries hired to travel and fight the knights here. Having a mercenary faction would keep the faction war untouched, as it still would be at its very core, knights v Vikings v samurai, with each faction just hiring warriors. But it doesn't now limit the warriors to only coming from the three corners of the globe. Now they can be anyone during that time period. Chinese Yuxia, or is it Chinese Yuxia, Turkish Janissaries, hell, the guy holding the sword could be a Persian immortal for all we know. I can also directly relate this to another Ubisoft game, Rainbow Six Siege. All of the DLC characters have come from different military factions around the globe. Even if some were from the same country as one of the original 5 groups, they weren't from the same faction, if we're gonna use that term. This also adds a ton of potential new maps, as these mercenaries could come from anywhere, so could new environments. However, if Ubisoft ends up introducing all these different characters, first of all, where did they come from and why are we only seeing them now? And will it distract from the core Knights versus Vikings versus Samurai conflict? That is where some people are going to disagree, because it does take away from that, but at the same time, it's not getting in the way of the conflict. So that's up to interpretation, that's up to you guys. But this third theory is one that I haven't seen thrown around, and this is one that I personally would love to see if it came true. I think that the guy wielding the scimitar is actually a new knight hero, probably a vanguard. Despite what I said earlier about it looking like a falchion, we need to remember that 1, especially in this video game, there are multiple variants of weapons to unlock. So down the road, we might get one that is a bit more curved to my heart's content. And 2, it's not a fully realistic game, otherwise we'd have Vikings with chainmail instead of running out bare-chested. And the shaman wouldn't be able to bite through steel. That would be very difficult without breaking her teeth. Now, if we again go back to my first point, we talk about how there is incredibly strong evidence that the unknown hero is of Middle Eastern descent, right? The background suggested, the weapon does, and I think some people have also mentioned that the arm bracer or the arm guard there does as well. Well, historically, if you remember, knights spent a lot of time in the Middle East. In fact, many knights had to even change their attire because of the conditions in the desert, and in some cases may have even used weapons of the area as well. My thought is that this is actually a Byzantine or Byzantine knight, however you actually pronounce it, maybe more accurately a dismounted cataphract. The Byzantine Empire were basically the Roman Empire just in the Middle East, which makes this all the more plausible since we already have Romans in the game. And this map shows how they were actually right next door neighbors with the Persian Empire, so it makes sense that we might see some influence there. Hell, there's even paintings of Byzantine warriors using curved swords and... Is that a shield? Are we finally gonna get a knight with a sword and shield? My theory here is basically the war has continuously dragged on for what, like 1,000 years or something like that? And now, each faction is getting even more and more desperate and are actually traveling even further to find new allies. The knights have gone east to ask for the assistance of the Byzantine Empire. The Japanese would ask big neighbors China for help as the ongoing war would soon come to their doorstep, and the Vikings could pillage alongside the Visigoths, who were a Germanic tribe actually known for sacking Rome. The faction war has just gotten bigger, without taking the focus away from Latin knights versus pagan Vikings versus Oriental samurai. This expansion allows for new heroes to master, new maps to explore, and potentially new story or single-player DLC that shows the expanse of each factions into the new territory, and even potentially taking Jerusalem. That cutscene that we saw of the warrior and the warden could be an example of how there was conflict in getting the Eastern Knights to help, and that potentially means we could see a mission or two for each faction with, the Vikings having to beat the Visigoths into submission, or the Japanese having to prove themselves to the Chinese so that they would help them. But of course, this is all just a theory. No, this is just all speculation, and who knows if any of this is true, right? Given with what we've shown, I think that my final argument that I've made is one of the strongest and definitely would be a bit more unique than just mercenaries. And if I'm right, that's freaking awesome. If not, I don't care. It's all speculation. If one of the earlier ideas was right, cool. If Ubisoft comes out of left field and blindsides me and throws all this shit to the ground, cool. I can't wait to see what they can come up with. One last thing I wanted to look at in the trailer was some people arguing, what exactly happened at the end, because a lot of people think that the Warden was spared because he never ended up, getting hit by the sword. But if you look closely in the background, everything goes slow motion. But the Warden itself doesn't seem to go slow motion compared to everything else, unless I'm not looking at it correctly. So I truly don't know what's happening, right? It doesn't necessarily add or take away from that final point that I made anyways, right? Because there could have been a struggle between the Knights and the Eastern Knights if that theory was true. Or it could be, a new Arabian faction or a new mercenary hero from the desert that is just slaughtering him anyways. It doesn't matter. It helps all of my cases. Anyways, as always guys, thank you so much for watching, and thank you to Fodge for his input and discussion regarding this video. I strongly recommend that you check out his channel for some more great For Honor gameplay. The link to his channel is in the description below. What did you guys think of the trailer Ubisoft gave us? What did you think about my predictions? What are your predictions? And finally, are you excited for the reveal at E3? Let me know in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed the video, giving it a like and sharing it with friends does let me know, and subscribing ensures that you're up to date on all videos pertaining to For Honor and any other video games that I talk about or play here. This was definitely a different video compared to what's usually going on my channel, but I did really enjoy making this. I had a lot of fun talking with different people about what this might be, and I'm glad that I was able to share it with you guys. If you want to see more videos like this, where I just ramble on about my thoughts and speculate about God knows what, or even talk about balance in For Honor, please let me know. Thank you again so much for watching, guys, and I will see you on the next video.